Welcome to ISE's Equity Index Weekly Outlook, a weekly outlook on ISE and other industry indexes, hosted by Patrick Ceresna, a derivative market specialist and investment manager with extensive expertise in options and the broader derivative markets. ISE trades options on more than 15 proprietary sector indexes, as well as broad-based indexes and a variety of licensed benchmarks. ISE continually enhances its trading systems and develops new index options products to provide investors with the best marketplace and investment tools to trade smarter.
Hello and welcome to the ISE Equity Index Outlook for October 5th, 2009. This is Patrick Ceresna. First off, I want to take a look at the S&P 500 using that SPDR exchange traded fund symbol SPY. More or less, we're right now trading right at the bottom of that 103 to 105 focal point on the downside, and really at this stage, even on that unemployment information that came out on Friday, there was simply not a big enough of an acceleration on the downside. So there are a lot of people that are jumping onto the bearish bandwagon. If in fact the selling does not accelerate in any way, we can't rule out one more short squeeze higher that could test all the way up into the 110 to 112 area. So at this point, even though we are looking for a topping formation, and the tops we put in just earlier this week could be important ones, we cannot rule out the possibility that there's still a couple good kicks right up into that zone. We're not in any way aggressively on short-term bearish. What would more than likely create a bearish scenario that we'd be looking for, where we would become far more aggressive on it, is if we came down and retested that 99 to 100 zone on the downside marked by that lower focal point. If we came in there and all of our rally attempts failed to break back above that 103, 105, at that stage we would start to have growing confidence that we have lots of shorting opportunities out there. But so long as the market digs in here and doesn't actually sell, then we can't rule out a couple more bullish pushes higher still. So really we're still on the fence. We're not in any way big picture bearish just yet, but we are looking for a market top to develop up here. Next here, I want to take a look at the ISE U.S. Regional Banks Index, which is the symbol JLO. We came off of a retest of that previous high at the 20.5 to 21.5 area, which creates pretty much a bigger picture double top along there. The one thing that we don't, again, know is whether or not this is just a flagging formation before another thrust higher. We're going to watch carefully, because that blue line right there around the 18.5 area is sort of a line in the sand. If we have any selling that really starts accelerating under that level, then we know in the bigger picture we're starting to see some sort of key tops coming in there. But so long as price action actually holds at the $19 or higher area here, we can't rule out one more good thrust higher as well in the regional banks. Next here, I want to take a look at the ISE Syndex, which is the symbol SIN. This is an index of all the casino, tobacco, and distiller companies, and more or less we are coming right off that 108 to 112 short and move target and consolidating on the downside. Again, we're painting the identical situation on all of these markets. This is just looking like a flagging formation that certainly still can have one more thrust higher. There hasn't been any real technical damage done yet, as much as people are getting a little bit bearishly slanted in the broader perspective. In fact, there's no technical evidence to support that. If in fact we have no further technical breakdowns from here, this could very easily swing back up and make a final push up into that 119 to 125 target zone on the upside. The only thing that would make us have a far more bearish perspective would be any significant drop below that 98 to 100 point, which would indicate some kind of a bigger picture reversal is underway, but there's no indication of that yet. Next here, I want to take a look at the ISE Home Builders Index, which is the symbol RUF, and more or less the home builders really accelerate on the downside, particularly on Thursday and Friday, as it basically rocketed straight down to the 9.25 focal point on the downside. At this stage, we can't rule out, obviously, a bounce the way we're talking about the other markets, but the relative weakness of the home builders has been very evident, and more than likely will not participate on the upside as dramatically as some of the other plays may, and therefore I would not be wanting to play the upside using the home builders index. More than likely, if in fact we create a topping formation in the broader markets in the upcoming month or more, then in fact this may be the place where you want to be buying puts to participate on the downside, as there may be some further relative weakness coming in here. Next here, I want to take a look at the ISE Natural Gas Index, which is the symbol FUM. And for a month or more, we had our upside measure move target up into this 100 to 110 area. We had a perfect hit right into the dead center of that zone with now a reversal period. So we're going to actually now draw on a focal point now in this 102 to 105 zone. Really at this stage, even though there's consolidating here off this measured move, we certainly can't rule out also another push higher still in some of these different waves. That would start a new measured move, which could even go up to the 110 to 115 area on the upside. But nonetheless, we're going to be watching carefully to see whether or not there's a loss of momentum during this moves. If for whatever reason we had continued follow through selling that for whatever reason took it down to the 90-93 zone, at that stage we would start visiting the idea that maybe a top is in place. But so long as the selling is contained up into these higher zones, we certainly think that there is room for this to still make one more push. And finally, I want to take a look at the ISE Mini FTSE 100 Index, which is the symbol UKX. We also had our upside measured move for last month or more for a move up into the 500 to 520 area on the upside. We now topped out in that zone. We're now starting to consolidate. Obviously, selling could actually consolidate even as deep as the 470, 480 focal point. But again, so long as the selling is shallow up in these zones and it doesn't accelerate too much here, we certainly can't rule out there to still be one or two more thrusts higher to create a topping formation. So our first measure move is now complete, and we're going to put a focal point right up in that upper zone to mark that off. Again, these are all logical places for us to start seeing some market tops developing, but like our opinion on all of the markets, it's not always prudent to be very aggressive on entering your shorts here, as there may be numerous swings still in here that may squeeze you out of your short positions as that topping formation is actually developing. That was your ISE Equity Index Outlook. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. For more information about Patrick Ceresna and to sign up for free index options trade alerts, visit www.optionsource.net. To learn more about ISE index options, visit us at www.ise.com/indexoptions.